What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Ease, back in effect, live without the BS. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. Hope everybody's having a good day.
Yes.
Today we're going to talk about the differences between Diablo 4 and Path of Exile. At some point, people will try both games and go back and forth between the two due to how the seasons are set up. Everything is due through hearsay from online or Twitter, Reddit accounts that you don't quite know what you're going to be in store for. But I just want to let you know, if you played one, you already played the other. And this video is to show you the difference between the two. And welcome Diablo fans to Path of Exile Crucible League. We only have 16 more days left for this league until the Trial of the Ancestor starts. But the game will still be the same, just have new mechanics, just like Diablo has. When you're a new player to the game of Path of Exile, if you're coming over from D4 or you just played other games, you want to try something new, there's multiple ways to play. Hardcore, standard, regular, wherever the league is. This league is called Crucible, so this is where every league that's new, like Trial of the Ancestors, will go right here in this section. And you have Standard League. Then you have subcategories, which are the Solo Self-Found and Ruthless. Let me tell you the difference. Just like in Diablo, when everything is done with the season, it will move over to your standard, just like the Internal Realms. And when you're playing on any of these, you have the option of Solo Self-Found, or just push the button and go. Solo Self-Found does not allow trade. Not trade between you and players on your group, but using the trade site. So it's really good for beginners. If you're brand new, do Solo Self-Found. When you're trying to look up a build guide for this game, it's for a new player, build guides are very confusing, even though those creators will say that it's for a new player. This game warps your mind over time. So let's begin with the elephant in the room, the skill tree. In Diablo, the skills tree is set up super simple for pretty much anyone can grasp. And that's good. But for PoE, you may not like this setup. It's too simple because of things like this. Skill tree has a tendency to scare new players off due to the mass of it. Yes, I understand that it's different, it's big, you don't know exactly where you're going to go. That's where build guides come into play. But again, build guides are very tricky for this game because placing the nodes down is not going to help you. You also need the gear to go with it. And each gear comes with its own set of stats that are also RNG. But what makes this whole board look overwhelming is because all the glyphs are already in certain areas of the board. So you need a path in that direction to get to the glyph, quote unquote, that Diablo 4 has to use it. Besides picking it up and placing it in, which I believe for casuals, that's a better version. It makes it less cumbersome. That's why Diablo 4 done it. But for hardcore players, I could also understand why you want to take this route. You know, it does make you feel like you're getting stronger over time as well when you go this way. So when you're making a build inside Path of Exile, you're looking for your mastery nodes, which are the ones that are in the middle around the circles. There's passive nodes all over the board. Take a look at what the passive nodes you want, pick one, and make sure it goes towards your build. So you want to plan ahead before you get there. And that's what build guides are for. They have figured out they have put in the 20, 30, 50, 60 hours into that one character to figure out all the steps. Besides showing you the whole board at once, which overwhelms new players. They're taking the same idea, dumbing it down, and showing you little by little. And that's the same system that Path of Exile Mobile is using as well. Think about that. Once you get to the end of the path, on each end, you can decide what board you want to choose from next. You also have a second passive tree that's only for in-game items. You use these to highlight different parts of the in-game that you want to make stronger or more rewarding as you go across the board. Each part of the board represents different in-game activities. You have the delirium activity you can do. You have heist activities you can do. In-game bosses. All the Uber bosses, they're up here. Then you got Blight there. You have Metamorph there you can do. There's Curex missions. There's Harvest missions. There's Breach missions. And so on and so forth. There's Abyss missions. The in-game has a lot. So you'll always have options to go for. But remember, this game has been out a lot longer than Diablo 4. So you can't compare in-game activities between two different games. I know you might want, but you don't get. You're not 5. And for Path of Exile, we have gems. These gems are your skills and abilities that you have throughout the game. There are more than this that I have, and some of these are doubles. But there's so many varieties of different types of skills to make and combination of each other. So much synergy happens in this game. But as you can see, there's nothing but difference between the two. It's just they're separated into two different categories. This one here will be PoE's gems system. Besides putting the gems onto the armor, they gave it a whole tree. Paragon points are the same as upgrades from PoE. You have your pathing nodes to get to the major ones to make your build the way you want it. Right here we have the specializations, just like you have in PoE. When you ascend to your next level or next character, once you complete the task, you have your ascendancies. This is just the ascendancies dumbed down. Alright, let's take a look at one of the ascendancies. This is the witch. One of her ascendancies is elementalist. I believe this one is. And as you can see, just like the expertise that you have in Diablo 4, your setup is the same. You have a list of expertise to choose from, and then you can put your given points that you're allowed to have into each section. It's the same thing, but a dumbed down version. That PoE has I believe, a more advanced version, and Path of Diablo 4 is just trying to mimic what they're doing, and vice versa. They copy each other. The glyphs we have in Diablo 4 are just the same as the jewelry that they have in Path of Exile. You place one down, and then the radius pops up, just like Diablo 4. As long as you meet the requirements within that radius, you get the bonus of the jewelry. In this case, if there's at least 40 intelligence in this radius, my skeletons can be summoned up to 15. I could do 15 skeleton mages, as long as I got 40 points of intelligence in there. And which I do. There's 10, there's 20, there's 30, and there's 40. And that's how you activate it, and that's how Path of Exile and D4 are pretty much the same. It's just the board is bigger and you can path in multiple ways. Like this witch is going this way, and then I have another witch class that the build is going this way. It all depends on what you want to make your build. As for PoE's in-game, you have the map device, which you'll learn about as you play through the story. Inside the map device, you will place the maps that you find along the world into the map device. The map device gives you options on how to make the board harder, pretty much, and give you better item quality. Now, as you can see, there's a big difference between PoE and Diablo 4. The mob mass is huge, but fortunately for D4 fans, they are increasing the mob density in the next patch, which I believe as the time of this recording of this video will be another 1 more week, 2 weeks tops. This is called a breach. As you can see, it's hard to see what the hell is going on. That's the problem with Path of Exile. You can't see what happens. But once you fail one of your map, when you're in the in-game maps, if you miss and die, you will come back to the beginning and have to start from square one. I know you guys on Diablo 4 were complaining how you got to the boss, died, and you had to start from way at the beginning of the portal. PoE is the exact same way. If you die, you start at the very beginning of the level. The only way to get around that is to have scrolls of...
Long day.
Oops. The way to get around that is to have your portal scrolls, pop a portal while you're in there, the closer you are to the boss, so when you die, you just come out the portal. So that's the workaround. So yes, let's talk about stash space and what we deal with in Diablo 4, and as you can see the differences from PoE. Stash space here, you only get 4 tabs besides the starting 5 that you will get in PoE. Each tab is separated for each different type of item, so that makes it a little bit less cluttered, but still very limited when you only have 3 rows. Very limited in space, but at least one item takes up 1 cube, besides one item taking up 6 cubes like it would in PoE. And in Path of Exile, the stash is looking like this. You have specialized tabs, you have your standard tabs, and you have space. Just plenty of space. There's a lot of people who like to hoard stuff, and you can't be a hoarder on Diablo 4. It's not possible. You are able to buy extra stash tabs. I believe it's up to 5. Yeah, 4 or 5 stash tabs, but each the same relevant size. This is a specialized tab for currency. It holds all the types of currency that you will have in your game. To currency of buying items in a game, you will have to use these items to either level up your gear with more sockets, to make the links connect, or to change the color of your sockets, and much, much more. In Diablo 4, you have multiple shops to go to buy the items that you need.
Carry the best.
From the jeweler
Shards of
to
the
placing in and out of
heavens.
sockets
Come
if you
back
need
and
it.
see us.
We also have the alchemist that lets you imprint the new skills onto your builds, onto your gear. So when you change, if you do want to change your build to something new, you can always come here and redo your build aspects, which are the special abilities for your character that makes you you. You have your blacksmith to repair your armor, salvage your gear that you don't need, and repair your armor. Everything costs money. You also have your normal vendors, just like in Path of Exile's towns. When you come into the game, even if you start the game off in trade, you cannot sell anything, but you can buy. But if you want to sell something, you need to buy a stash tab for selling. And this is one of them. And these two are sell tabs. And another one is here. That's also a sell tab. There's different sizes, of course, different prices. These tabs cost more than these tabs. I will go over the price in a second. Is the monetization. Monetization in here is literally all cosmetics. Hundreds of them. But the biggest thing you need to worry about is stash tabs. Since you're a hoarder, you're going to need to buy stash tabs. You can buy one premium stash tab for 15 coins, which is one tab that will let you sell your items. Very cheap. And then you have your premium stash bundle, which gives you 6 extra tabs. This is the one I think is the most worth it. I think this is the most worth it. Either that or this one. This one allows you the ability to trade with other players. It gives you a trade option, and you can customize the tab with colors. This one here, everything is plain, and you cannot customize trade as well. That's why it's on sale, it says. Now, the prices are pretty cheap. This is the big one, the one with the multiple tabs that I have. That's the biggest one. And the most important tab to buy in the game is this here. All new players should buy this tab. It's only 75 coins. Get the 75 coin one and maybe one more stash tab until you can, get used to the game. How much are the coins? As you can see, the coins are actually pretty cheap. It's not that bad. 50 coins, $5. 100 coins, $10. 200 coins, $19. $20 in US dollars. Now, as you saw, the stash tab, if you want to buy just 3 single stash tabs that don't do anything, you can buy this for $5 for 3 single stash tabs. If you want to buy the currency tab, that will be $10 for the currency tab. Or if you're really trying to play the game for the long haul, spend the $20 and you'll be able to play the game for the long haul. They have a supporter pack right here that you get extra items to put to your game. Again, nothing will make you play to win. Nothing advances you any further. It just gives you more money to buy more stash tabs, most likely, or maybe a skin or two. And there you have it. A quick comparison between Diablo 4 and PoE Part 1. Again, these are 2 different communities, so you won't be able to fit everyone, all these squares in the same circle. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? One group needs to compensate for the other, or all groups will just hate the game, period. When it comes to Diablo right here, a lot of PoE players have come over to play Diablo because they're done with their season. And then you have a lot of Diablo players who are done with Diablo going over to PoE to experience what they have to offer. They're 2 different games. One is group. This game, PoE, is made for, to lack a better term, nerds. You need to know your numbers. You need to know calculations. For Diablo, it's mostly made for the casual player. Someone who just doesn't want to rush through everything and take their time and to develop their character into something meaningful later. Besides making it happen today, day one, And that's all it is to it. Two different games, two different communities. Hopefully they both can come together and make a really good game. Until next time, guys. Peace.